Oh, great, thank you. Then there's, oh, great, thanks.
Good afternoon. I can't hear you. You're on mute.
Hey, Heather.
Hi. You can stay on mute if you need to.
Yeah, we'll do that till we get a little closer here.
That's fine.
And it's going to get a lot colder.
Is that supposed to be on like that? Four or five?
Heather, I
afternoon.
think we're just, we're a little short on members so far. So it's
I
just
know.
you and Nick and Lance. So we'll hang out here a bit and see if a couple others sign on.
Sure thing. I'll just hang out with my mute on. I was just going to let folks know we're waiting to see to get a quorum. Good afternoon, everyone. We're just waiting to see if anybody else pops on before we get started.
We are at quorum, Heather, so whenever works for you, I'll keep an eye on the participant list.
Okay. I'm Heather Tice. I'm the PTAC chair, and I just would like to welcome everyone to the Public Transit Advisory Committee meeting, and I will call the meeting to order. It is 4:12. I think we'll need to do a,
Who's that?
I beg your pardon? I was hoping we could do a call. Do we have public? Well, do we need to do our attendance, Serena?
Introduction and then go to roll call, if you'd like to do that.
Okay. All right. Well,
Okay.
that's fine.
All right. Good evening. My name's Serena Pearson, and I'm a marketing specialist with Lawrence Transit. Along with me is Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager, and we will work alongside Heather to facilitate the meeting proceedings. Adam and myself will facilitate the Zoom portion of the meeting. This meeting is being recorded and broadcast on the city's YouTube channel. During the meeting, when you're not participating, please mute yourself by clicking on the microphone icon found on the lower left-hand side of the Zoom menu next to the video icon. When you're muted, a red line will appear over the icon. Muting your microphone during the meeting will make it easier for everyone to hear. You'll just have to remember to unmute it if you want to speak. In some cases, we may mute or unmute people as needed to minimize distractions during the meeting. Please remember to state your name and title for the benefit of those listening remotely. You can turn your video on and off by clicking the video icon on the menu. For the purposes of this public meeting, please keep your video on when you are participating in the meeting. When you're not participating, it is okay to turn your video off. Please just remember to turn your video back on when you're participating. If you're participating by phone, you can click the *6 to unmute your phone. For those using Zoom, somewhere on your screen, you will see a choice to toggle between speaker and gallery view. Speaker view shows the active speaker. Gallery view tiles all the meeting participants. And now I will do the roll call and then turn it back over to Heather. So let me just kind of go through the list. Is Janan Amin here? She's not, right? Lance is here. Yay. Heather?
Present.
Is it?
And Phyllis is going to, I think she was going to try to log on again, but she had put in the chat that she was having trouble with her.
Okay, yeah, I did see her, so I will mark her as here. Mike Wazakowski? Here, okay. Nick Kuzmiak?
Here.
Here. Alan Eklund?
Here.
See him? Natalie Oza?
Here.
Awesome. Bill Wilson?
Here. Thank you.
And I think that's everybody. So I'll go ahead and turn the meeting back over to Heather.
All right. All right. Thank you. Thank you, Serena. This is Heather Tice, PTAC chair. I'd like to move to the second order of business, which is public comment. Did we receive any written communication from the public? Adam
Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. We did not, and there's no one here in the commission room with us.
Okay, Heather Tice, PTAC chair. All right, so we will move on to approval of minutes. I hope everyone was able to access and look over the minutes as they were put out as draft. If there was any comments, we can do that now. All right, no comments. Then I'll need a first and a second to move to approve.
This is Phyllis Farrer. I move that we approve the minutes as drafted.
Thank you, Phyllis.
And I will second, Nick Kuzmiak.
Thank you, Nick. This is Heather Tice, PTAC chair. So the minutes have been first, they've been first and second. They're both approved. Sorry. they're both approved. So we need to call a vote to do the motion. Serena?
All right, I'll just go through the list. I know Janan not here. Lance,
Approve.
Heather,
Approve.
Phyllis,
approve,
okay. Mike Wasikowski,
Approve.
Nick Kuzmiak,
Approve.
Alan Ackland,
Abstain.
abstain. Natalie Yoza,
Approve.
Bill Wilson,
Approve.
okay. That's everyone.
Okay, thank you, Serena. This is Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. So the minutes have been voted on and approved. Can I have the tally, please?
We have 7 approved, 1 abstain, and 1 absent.
Okay, thank you so much. This is Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. Thank you, everyone. So we will move to approve the minutes as put out in the draft form, so it is approved. Thank you. The next item in the agenda is the meeting time change discussion.
This is Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. So we've been asked to look at our meeting time. There have been some challenging conflicts on the second Monday at the time that we are at, with a couple of meetings that also happen today. So both our group and the Human Resources Commission, which directly follows us, are looking at alternate times that perhaps we could meet next year to create a little more buffer for Kurt and our tech folks here at City Hall, just to help streamline meetings that occur. So I had sent you all out a poll to see if there were some other potential times that might work for you all. I will screen share to show you those results. I will say we are still in in a place where we need to have some discussion. I'd like to hear from members if folks may have some wiggle room on things they said no to that perhaps were not hard no's, or if what you said that you could do as an alternative time was really the only option. So I've anonymized this. I assume you all know which days and times you said you could attend. I have your names on my computer if you need reminding of your schedule, but I'm interested, as we look at this, the 3 options were second Monday of the month, which is the same day that we currently do, but just moving it earlier by a half hour. The other 2 options were different days of the month, but at the same time. So as you can see, it's a pretty split vote for the most part, and is a challenge. So before I dive into letting people tell me if they have, maybe some additional wiggle room they might have, I will say that directly following this meeting, Human Resources Commission is going to have the same discussion. If they end up moving their meeting, then we don't have to move ours. So this is kind of a chicken and egg scenario. We have to determine through this discussion if we have an alternative that we could do, but perhaps we could stay with the same time if they end up moving theirs. So with that, I might open it up and see if anyone would offer, you said you 1 time or 2 times. Is there a time that you can say maybe, or yes, I could stomach that change if we need to do it for the group?
Nick Kuzmiak, PTAC member. I could do all 3 if need be. I don't think that'll help very much. I think it'll still be split, but if you need an extra, I can do Mondays.
Okay.
This is Natalie Yoza, PTAC, and really it's the time change. I can do any of the 410s, but schools don't have aftercare anymore. And so that 3:40 time is pickup.
Okay,
Lance Fay, PTAC Vice Chair. I have parenting obligations on Wednesday evenings that start at 5:30. So Wednesday is a challenge for me. It could be done if that's the only option, but it would require some negotiation on my part with childcare time.
okay.
This is Mike Wazakowski, member. I really can be flexible and do any of those times, but the only one that makes sense with my current schedule is the first Wednesday. I'll have to move around some other things to make second Thursday or second Monday half hour earlier work.
Adam Weigel, Transit Parking Manager. Just to clarify, Mike, the existing time would continue to work for you, or does that become?
Yes, that would continue to work as well. It's simply if I go back to physically working and I have to commute back to attend meetings in person, doing that at 3:40 is much more difficult than 4:10.
Gotcha. Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. Just for the benefit of the group, I would say that it's very likely that we, for the foreseeable future, always will have a Zoom option, just if that makes things easier for folks. I can't imagine us not having this option, even if in-person becomes also an option for more people to attend. So just something to consider, not necessarily affecting this discussion, but just so you're aware.
Bill Wilson, PTAC member. I'm not exactly sure which ones I sent in. I apologize, but the second Monday option, the 3:40, is really encroaches on kind of a set work schedule I've already got. So I don't know if but the other two, let's see. Yeah, the Thursday and the Wednesday could work. Again, I don't remember what I put down.
Okay.
Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. Oh, was there someone else going to speak?
I just, Lance Fay, Vice Chair, I just realized I must have misread the, thought that it was a Tuesday instead of a Thursday, and I have the parenting obligations on Thursday as well. But you know, if need be, they can be negotiated. It's just, you know, it's parenting time, so it's just something I have to work with.
Okay.
Al Ackland, PTAC member. I can meet any of the three options.
Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. I don't think I took the survey because I think I'm going to be moved off at some point, but I'll meet as long as you guys need me to, and any other date, anytime.
Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. Yes, we have some recognitions coming your way and Phyllis's way here in a minute. So I appreciate you guys, and yeah, I realize that you didn't need to take this particular survey, so we're good there.
Yeah, I figured. Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. So do we just want to go? Do we want to pick a day or?
So Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. I think I have what I need now. I've learned about, you know, places where we might be flexible and places where we're not. I do want to maybe take the temperature of the room. If we don't have to move the meeting, would folks rather we just keep it where it's been? That's the one piece where I have to wait until after today to see how HRC's discussion goes. I see a thumbs up from Natalie and Bill. I imagine if it's been working for folks, it might be nice to just keep it where it's at if that tends to, if that works after HRC's discussion. So I don't think we need to necessarily pick or vote right now. I think I've got what I need, and we'll circle back. You all will be aware of where this meeting will sit before the new year.
Okay, Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. Thank you, Adam. That's helpful. And just again, if you need me to attend a meeting, that would be fine. And the next item is the PTAC member items, the future agenda and work session items to add. So is there any discussion or agenda items that we'd like to talk about? All right. I guess we can, is there any other items we need to talk about? This is Heather Tice, PTAC Chair.
Kuzmiak, PTAC member. Are we basically soliciting just ideas for upcoming meetings in 2021 for stuff that there's time to talk about?
I think that's definitely part of it. And then also Heather Tice, PTAC Chair, also just anything that we need to bring up today going into 2021. At least that's my understanding. Is that right, Adam?
This is Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. Yes, I think at some point, I believe Phyllis had brought up that we didn't have a great kind of space to make sure if PTAC members had something to add or if we wanted to propose some future topic or item that we wanted to talk about. So we built that in here to create that time. So it can definitely be, you know, something as formal as a future agenda item, but also could be if you've noticed something while riding the bus or something else that you thought would be beneficial to the group. Now's the time to bring those up.
Heather,
Okay. Oh, sorry.
That's fine. Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. I did notice some of the new amenities around town, so I appreciate those. They look good.
Thank you, Kuzmiak, PTAC member. I actually did have something to bring up. So back when I was honestly just starting here, PTAC was looking for a representative to send to the Multimodal Transportation Commission. So I'm grateful that you all selected me, and I've been on there ever since. So it's been about 2 years now, I think. And since then, we've rebranded on to, I guess, we're no longer called Transportation Commission. We are the Multimodal Transportation Commission. So now we have our own cool acronym, MMTC. And in that rebranding, there is no longer, I guess, discrete representatives of various organizations. So now it's just, I'm just Nick Kuzmiak, MMTC representative. So I don't necessarily represent PTAC anymore, but I still do try to bring in PTAC stuff when I can, because that was my original reason for being there. So anyway, all that background is to say that what was going to happen in December is now going to happen in January. And that thing is, we always have a study session the hour before our regularly scheduled meeting, which is usually the first Monday of every month, I think. And for that hour, we usually try to tackle topics that are not things we need to really make a decision on. Just maybe learning about some aspect of transit that we didn't, or transportation that we weren't necessarily familiar with, hearing from some members of the community, stuff like that. And a couple of MMTC members thought that it would be interesting to kind of flip the script a little bit, and instead of just have somebody from staff talk to us about, you know, transportation issues we should know about, we decided we could have a your turn kind of a forum almost, where we would invite representatives from the community who have some sort of stake in transportation to come talk to us and kind of tell us how they see MMTC's role, what they think of our performance and decisions over the past few years, what they think we should do in the future, any room for improvement, stuff like that. And the kind of groups that we've been approaching at this point have been, you know, the Chamber of Commerce, Live Well Lawrence, Friends of Lawrence Area Trails. Geez, I'm totally blanking on a couple of others. LAN, the Lawrence Association of Neighborhoods. And I thought it'd be really good to get somebody who works with transportation. And though we can kind of get Adam whenever, we're trying to focus on more citizen-led representation. So no offense, Adam, we're just looking for that particular angle. So a couple of names that were tossed around have generally landed on Heather, you as possibly being an invitee to come and talk to us about transit in Lawrence. Lance, you as well, because both of you have a kind of unique insights into transportation here. So that's going to be in, I want to say early January, like first week probably. And what we would be looking for, should you be interested in something like this, would basically be just kind of lead a kind of a brief discussion, maybe 10 minutes, 15 minutes on those things I mentioned, how transit fits into the whole thing and how MMTC could better serve the interests of transit stakeholders. So, you will be slotted in among other people talking about, say, like freight services or parking at new developments or bike trails, like a whole list of topics, because we really are trying to be multimodal. But it's a really important piece of the puzzle is public transit. So anyway, just throwing it out there. If y'all are interested or have other suggestions for people I should talk to, then maybe get in touch with me offline and we can talk further if you're interested.
Lance Fay, PTAC Vice Chair, I'd be interested. And
Awesome.
Would like to maybe learn a little bit more about maybe what the current agenda items or concerns of that committee are.
Sure.
So that I can be pertinent to those things.
Okay. Heather, you're muted if you're volunteering yourself.
All right. Sorry about that.
All
I
right.
was trying to be good and mute myself. So on the Heather Tice PTAC chair, the 4th is what you're talking about? It'd be the
Yeah, I think, is that what it is? I got to go back to our calendar. I should have prepared a little bit better, but yeah, I think that's the one.
All right. Well, I'll look at my calendar, but if Lance is willing to and able to come, that's good. I won't slate myself, but I'll look at the information because there's a whole information just like the city does for all the other groups. So I'll take a look at that. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, and maybe let's touch base in a week or so. And I think it might be good to have 2 people. So if there's anybody else on PTAC who is interested in this, then, I mean, it doesn't even have to necessarily be limited to 2 people. I think the chamber might be bringing 3 folks to kind of cover all their topics. So it's pretty open-ended. So anyway, Lance, I'll send you an email so we can discuss more about this offline. Very
good. Thank you.
Heather Tice, PTAC chair. Thank you, Nick. That was a good agenda item. I appreciate that.
I know I had something.
Is there any other discussion that someone would like to bring up?
Lance Fay, Vice Chair, PTAC. I would assume that in the next couple of months, there'll be more discussion on the KU reroute design, but I'd like maybe some clarification on when and what. So there's been some, they've released a few things and we've commented on them. And so I would assume that's coming up, but good to know.
Yep, Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. I've got a list of a few things to touch on in the transit staff items. So that'll be part of that. So we'll give a quick update there.
Heather Tice, PTAC chair. Thank you, Adam. Anything else that we'd like to bring up? Okay. Thank you, everyone. I will turn it over to the transit staff.
Okay, Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. I will start with that one since Lance brought that up. So an update on route redesign studies. So this fall, we've been working with the KU Urban Planning Student Group on the first route redesign study. You all had helped us kind of finalize that scope. The survey that had gone out got around 630 responses from folks. And since then, it's been a bit of a challenge moving forward towards our deliverables. I know that KU class was pretty small and had some issues with a couple folks out sick. So we are right here at the end of the semester. We received the technical memos they had put together that have evaluated a few different models of transit route styles. They did some analysis of some of our data, and they've put together a few route scenarios. And ideally, we're putting out those route scenarios to the public before the end of the year. I am trying to circle with the PTAC subcommittee that's been a part of that to see if there's any final edits or revisions we would want to do before that goes before the public, just to ensure there's no kind of major gaps or things that we wouldn't want to propose that we would need to change before we put that out for people to give us their feedback on. So we've received some material, and like I said, hoping to turn it around and get it out to the public soon. But there's a little bit of perhaps revision work to be done before it gets out. So that's on the route redesign study 1 that we're looking at finalizing soon here. As far as the upcoming route redesign study 2, which is the consultant-led study that we had planned on for the spring. We've been working with the MPO to put together our RFP for that work. That RFP actually just got posted today. So this just outlines what we expect out of the scope of that work to be. That bid will be out for about a month. So we'll be making determination on what consultant we might select about halfway through January. So that work is upcoming. We've started to put together a draft steering committee for that group. And that steering committee will be officially established by the MPO Policy Board this month. So you'll see on January's agenda for this group, we'll be looking for probably 2 nominations to come out of this group. For all the various kind of citizen-led committees that we're hoping have representation, we're going to try to get 2 people involved in case someone can't make it for some reason. There's a backup or an alternate that can still be there and represent, PTAC's interest and perspective. So look for that to come in January, but very excited to get that process moving forward. And hopefully we have, with our first survey and with hopefully another one soon about a few scenarios, hopefully we'll have some good kind of early insights from the public that the consultant can build upon and use as they do their work. So I will pause with that to see if there's any questions or thoughts about route redesign trajectory.
Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. Lance, did that answer your question a little bit?
Sure. Yes.
Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. So tied with that, a quick update on the multimodal transfer facility process. So that is another process where we are hard at work putting together an RFQ. So a request for qualifications that we hope to put out by the end of this year, early next year, to solicit design work from a consultant. So we want that process to run somewhat parallel with route redesign because we know those 2 will inform each other, in particular with how many routes end up serving that facility and what we want to plan for moving towards the future. We want those 2 consultants to be talking with each other at the appropriate times at its core level to make sure we get the right number of bus bays that we need at the transit facility. But anything else that we may think of that makes sense for a route design process and a facility design process. So we expect that process to also have a steering committee. And so we'll work to get that draft list together. Of course, trying to incorporate probably a lot of similar agencies and representatives that will be part of route redesign, but also definitely related to adjacent neighborhoods and that sort of thing to make sure we hear from those voices along the way. So I'll pause there again. If there's any thoughts on the facility, on the multimodal transfer facility.
Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. Adam, I was curious about the bays. Do you have an idea of how many bays you're looking to have? And if you're thinking that there will be space to have more if need be, or like I know that it's not designed yet, but I was just curious.
Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. I'll give you a detailed non-answer here. So one way we could do this is to take every route that does its transfer downtown, and we could move all of that to this new facility. That is not likely to be the best way that transit can serve our community. So if we moved all the routes from downtown, we need 8 bus bays plus a couple for commuter service, like the K10 connector and perhaps another potential future commuter service. So, you'd be looking in the neighborhood of 10 bus bays if you did that. I think there'll still be some transfers downtown. I think there'll be some routes where it doesn't make sense to drag them to Bob Billings and Crestline to make a transfer connection. So I'm not really sure, and I don't want to say, but I would say that yes, we're absolutely trying to plan for the future. When we look at the number of bays, we'll be asking that question of, do we think there might be a couple more routes that might serve here in the foreseeable future? Do we need to plan any more for regional service and factor that in so that we don't end up in a situation where 2 years or 5 years down the line, we need another bus bay and don't have the room to accommodate it.
Heather Tice, PTAC chair. That's kind of what I was thinking. I know that's where the transportation is headed. So I was just curious about that. Thank you.
This is Mike Wazakowski, PTAC member. Since we're getting electric buses sometime in the next 2 or so years, are there any plans to ask people to investigate installing chargers for those buses at the hub or at the transfer center rather? Over.
Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. So this will roll in well to my electric bus update, but the discussions so far have I'm pretty reluctant to add charging infrastructure out on route or at a facility like this, as opposed to overnight depot charging. The battery technology gets better and better every year. I think we're close to receiving the modeling update from our project manager that will tell us, can electric buses run all day on our current routes based on the way we have our bus blocks set up. The infrastructure that's out on route, so like an overhead charger or something that's built into the concrete, is very, very costly. And in my opinion is probably going away not too far in the future because of improved battery technology that let buses stay out longer. So we have discussed in internal working group with KU about having the facility have conduits where they need to be, have electricity where it needs to be in case we would go down that route. But all of our electric bus planning is centered around taking advantage of overnight charging. There's very, very low electric bus transit rates that Kansas Corporation Commission has an effect through Evergy. So our goal is to achieve everything we need to from overnight charging with a little bit of an eye towards, let's at least have electricity where it needs to be in case we do some at site or on route charging infrastructure.
Thank you.
Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. So I'll just continue a little bit on electric bus update. We're currently working on a draft contract for the buses themselves. So that's our next kind of piece of the puzzle that we need to purchase. So that's a little bit of a lengthy process. Our bus purchases in prior years have all been off of cooperative purchasing contracts. So this will be a new process for us to develop a contract from scratch and to make sure that technical specifications for, exactly how we need this electric bus to perform are written in there. All of that process, CTE is helping with, but it's going to take us a little time and to put that together pretty much from ground zero. So working on that now, and hopefully early next year is when we're looking at hopefully having it be in a place where we're about ready to sign. I think we have it slated for no later than March when we want to be signing that contract. So we're trying to get a draft together soon so that we can start essentially passing it back and forth between our legal department and Gillig's legal department. So that's where we're at on electric buses. Want to recognize a couple of our members that will no longer be with us come January, and thank them for their service and their time and their opinions throughout these meetings. So Heather and Phyllis, I'd just like to recognize you both for the work that you've done, and you've both joined some of the subcommittee work we've done, the extra meetings that have been on top of these PTAC meetings. And this has certainly been a strange year for me to start working with a group like this. So I appreciate your willingness to jump in and give us your thoughts, and really valued and appreciated your time with us. So I guess not to force you to say anything, but we'll give you some time here if you had any thoughts about your time with PTAC.
Heather Tice, PTAC chair. Well, I don't even know what I'm going to do on the second Monday of every month. I might just have to be a public person just because. But anyway, I really appreciate everybody that puts their time and energy into coming to the meetings and learning more about transit and putting in their knowledge from all of their different backgrounds. I really enjoy getting to know people on the committee. And Adam, I think you've done a great job. This was definitely a hard year to jump into transit. And I guess I did have one comment. I was just curious if you have any updates on how you guys are handling the COVID situation with the transit buses and that kind of, is there any changes that you guys have made?
Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. I might just pause and see if Phyllis wants to talk, and I can get into that for sure.
Yeah, I would like to give you my thanks. I really appreciated being on PTAC for 3 years, and I learned a lot, and I appreciate the work that you've accomplished or we've accomplished in this year. Not only in spite of COVID, but I think you did an excellent job of coming on board and taking the reins and running with it, Adam. And I know all the PTAC members appreciated it. I will continue to support transit, public transit, even though I feel guilty because I haven't been riding a bus this year. That's just, the way it's had to be. But I'll continue. One of my main interests as I came on the board was about educating the public about using public transit and why. And I continue with that. In fact, I'm happy that the health department's Safe Routes to Schools funding is supporting curriculum project of integrating walking, biking, and transit, public transit. And I'm serving on that committee, so I'll keep working. And sometime I'll maybe get to go to one of the training sessions. The plan back in January was that I was going to see a training session with kids at juvenile court or somewhere. And
Yeah.
that didn't happen.
No.
On hold, I imagine, for quite a while.
Yeah.
The other thing that I don't think I ever expressed in the first 2 years I was on, but PTAC didn't see much of our partners at KU at our PTAC meetings the first couple of years. And I've appreciated the fact that that we've got representation from KU Transportation. But even saying that, I have to point out, some of you may not know that Margreta DeFries is my daughter. So I've been very pleased that KU has sent someone to represent them. And it feels a little awkward, even saying I'm glad KU's on board, because it sounds like I'm just glad to see my daughter again. But
These meetings are the most we've seen each other all year.
That's true. That's true this year. So it kind of adds to the reason that I need to transition off, and hope we can find someone that will easily take my place.
But she'll stay very informed.
Yeah, I'm sure I will. So thanks to everybody.
All right, well, Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. Yes, thanks so much to you both, and thanks for talking a little bit about your experiences. We will definitely miss you and hope you keep involved, in other capacities with transit and transportation in Lawrence. So glad to hear that. Another just member update, Janan Amin has not been with us the last couple of months. So she applied for and was offered and accepted a job with First Transit. So now is on our side of the aisle. She's an operations intern working with First Transit. So she has transitioned away from PTAC, but is now essentially on the staff capacity side of things. So she's not here with us tonight, but just wanted to congratulate her on that move. And I know First Transit's excited to have her helping them, and she'll probably end up helping on some of KU and city projects and initiatives that we have as well. So looking towards next year, I know the mayor appointed a few members heading into next year. So I think we'll be full up starting in January, and I'll be getting with each of those folks similar to when I showed up and scheduled one-on-ones with you all. I'll do the same thing with our new members coming on, and want to extend the offer to folks on the line. If you want to check in with me towards the end of the year here, just to talk about how this year's gone, or if you want to see things change next year, if you're happy with your role and the direction of PTAC, those sort of discussions I'm happy to have just as essentially a check-in as we move forward into this next year. So something to think about. You certainly don't have to take that offer up, but I am happy to make the time for those discussions, so keep that in mind. Let's see. Y'all thought this was going to be a short meeting, and I got a long list of stuff here. I apologize. I've just got one more main thing I want to share. 2 days from now, on Wednesday, is the 20th anniversary of Lawrence Transit, believe it or not. So that's very exciting. I know Serena and Emily on our staff have been working to get some materials together to celebrate that, at least in the digital way. There will be a proclamation read tomorrow night at City Commission. And just recently, they are now, for a while, they weren't allowing like presentations or for some discussion to happen around those proclamations. They are allowing that now. So I did want to ask, I'm certainly happy to provide some remarks and comments, but if there is anyone in this group that would like to speak as part of that proclamation, I'd be happy to have you. I think it's always powerful when a citizen can speak to that stuff as well. So if you'd like to tell me now you're interested, that's great. If you want to think about it, and you can message me tonight or tomorrow, that would be fine as well. But wanted to extend that offer. All right. So I will, I'll let folks get with me offline if that's all right. If no one had thoughts now, that works just fine. The only other thing real quick is just, I know I had set the stage for chair and vice chair elections. I did check back with our bylaws. That needs to happen the first meeting of each year. And that makes sense because we'll have our new members coming on so they can be part of that selection process. So be thinking about for next month, if you'd like to nominate yourself for one of those positions. You can wait to the meeting to do it, or you can send me or Serena that self-nomination or a nomination of one of your colleagues. But be thinking about that for January. And that is all the other items for transit staff, I believe.
Heather Tice, PTAC chair. So the question I have is, can you give us a little, just a little brief, maybe the names and where people are coming from as far as the new members?
Sure.
And then I just had that question about COVID and if there was anything different that you guys are doing, and same for KU.
Sure. Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. I'll answer the COVID question. So we're continuing with our protocols. We still have bus operators cleaning throughout the day. We have our deep disinfecting at night. We have plastic barriers up on all the buses. We've got disposable masks on all the buses if people need them. I will say that it's a continual follow-up for mask compliance. We regularly receive comments or feedback that somebody saw someone not wearing a mask, and we follow up as best we can. I mean, in particular, if it's one of our operators, we follow up on that and can use video to do so. It's more challenging when it's passengers, and as I've mentioned before, there are exemptions to the health order through the state. So we do our best to offer masks and try to enforce mask compliance. But it is a real challenge when we're out on a route, in the middle of a route, and deciding whether or not to refuse service. We really are trying to avoid refusing service. But in particular, if there are repeat offenders and people who are not wearing masks and cannot demonstrate that they're in one of the exempt categories, our road supervisors at First Transit have been really good at following up with those individuals to try to gain compliance. So that's where a lot of the work lies currently. We have been, I think, fortunate as I look towards neighboring transit communities to not have as many reports of positive cases on vehicles, and then having to follow up on that contract tracing protocol. So I think we continue to hold our breath. I'm nervous to even say that, but that's something that we're prepared to, go through the proper notification and working with the health department on those issues. So that's where we're at COVID wise. For the folks coming on next year, Logan Stewart is the transportation coordinator working with KU Parking and Transit, and he will be sliding into one of the PTAC roles as a KU student, which will create a good voice, I think, for the group. Freddie Gipp is another one of the individuals who was appointed, and Freddie and I have worked a little bit together on, there's been an equity and mobility workshop for the last 6 weeks or so that Jasmine in the sustainability office for Douglas County was able to loop us in on. So I know Freddie a little bit through that, but I think he'll be another good perspective for the group. And August Rudisell is the third member coming on. And I don't know August yet. We'll get to know each other, but I understand he worked at the Ballard Center and has ridden the bus. So we'll learn more about him as well. I'll let all the individuals introduce themselves in January, and so that we all kind of know what their core competencies are, what their perspectives are, and how we can use that to be a well-rounded group. So looking forward to it. Any questions on COVID or new membership?
Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. I was just going to mention it. Do you have access to visors? Because sometimes the face shields tend to be a little more comfortable, and maybe that would be something that someone that isn't as compliant with a mask might be willing to wear. Just a thought.
Adam Weigel, Transit and Parking Manager. Yeah, it would be a challenge to store those on the
Yeah, I'm
buses.
sure.
in a way
Yeah,
that we
they're
can hand out.
Heather Tice. Yeah.
But that is, we would encourage people if they aren't wearing a mask and a visor can work for them, we would try to work with them to get them that so they can have it on their person.
Yeah. Heather Tice, PTAC Chair. They are bulky. So I guess is there any other comments or questions since the staff are done? I guess we have the next meeting is January 18th. And is there any other comments before I sign off as PTAC Chair for the last time? Okay.
Heather, this is Natalie Yoza. I just wanted to say thank you for all your work.
Oh, thanks. Heather Tice, PTAC Chair, thank you so much. I appreciate it. And Phyllis, we'll have to have coffee when COVID's over. Yeah, thank you, everyone. And I guess we'll call it's what, 5:03. And if everybody's all right with it, we'll call this meeting adjourned. Thank you so much. Happy holidays, everyone. Take care.
Hi, everyone.
Bye.